Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Fallen Kingdom. If any of you have been following Captain Sparkles, you may have already seen quite a few videos or live streams about this. This is a new server that effectively turns Minecraft into a tower defense. On the right, you can see I've already part of a kingdom, and we'll kind of go over what all that means as we go along. If you're new or haven't been on the server yet. So naturally you got the kingdom title, my role as a duke, since I'm not the creator of the kingdom, whereas if you are, you would have king or queen, depending on what you are or want to be addressed as. The gold is used to buy things. You make it if you sell items. You can also use it to buy blocks, mason, lumberjack, or the artisan if you want decoration blocks. Anything stone related from the mason, wood related from the lumberjack. You can use those to kind of customize and create things in your own kingdom. Raid points are used. You get those every time you raid a kingdom. Use those to upgrade your troops or to upgrade your buildings. The gems are kind of like they're like most other gems in other games as a currency. They allow you to buy more gold. You can buy grace periods, which means that you can't be raided for those, X number of hours. Or you can use it to buy boosters, which speeds up the process of farms, of the barracks, or anything else. So as you see, you start out with level 1. This is level 4 farm, so we have access to a lot more things than what you would start out with. You start out with just a cow. And everything costs a certain amount and has a certain amount of time that it takes and will reward you with different items depending on what you put in. Right now we're doing cows because we're collecting the leather. So for us, we got a pretty bare, basic sorting system set up just out front, just so that when we get in, the spawn point is right here. So you can get in, get to the blacksmith. If you need to build armor, any of the tools or weapons you're going to need, what's already building, and then what's been built. We have it this way just so you can spawn in, grab whatever you need, or when you're coming back from the mines or from a raid, you can spawn in and deposit, according to whatever you have. It takes a lot of time. It's a little grindy, but a full chest is one of the best ways to give you a lot of money. For us, we've already maxed out our farm, our mine, our blacksmith, builder's hut, bank. You can also warp if you have the noble rank. It costs $25, so take that with a grain of salt. You can teleport to any one of your towers, anywhere on the map. And when you create your kingdom, you get the opportunity to set your path. Currently, there's no way to fix it. So once you set your path and confirm it, that's going to be your path. With the next update, which will allow for another level castle, that should be adding in so that you can change your path. But more to follow on that. So when you go on a raid, or somebody raids you, their troops are going to stay right on this path. They'll never deviate or attack you. If you stand on the grass and try to attack, it's not going to work. And if you are attacking and mobs are spawning, if you're not standing on this, you won't do as much or any damage to the defending mobs. So this is the castle with our queen. This is what a raid table looks like. So you have your troops, which vary depending on what you build. Starting levels, you're only going to have zombies and skeletons and pandas and parrots. Pandas being the tank, skeletons being your ranged unit, zombies being your melee, and then parrots being your aerial troops. Once you get higher level, we switch out. We use slimes or Jerrys as the tank. Witches will heal your troops. The Endermen are our primary melee unit, and then our spider jockeys are our ranged unit. Yeah, it's important to have a good composition. It's not the only way to do it at this level. That you can do any combination you want. This just happens to be one of the more widely accepted and used composition of troops. And then in your castle, you've got all these different spots. Not really a whole lot to do with these at the moment. Hopefully they'll add something in and you'll be able to do something. But they give you your crypt, which is a massive space of stone. You can mine all that out. And there's bedrock. I'll fix that later. And you can customize these however you want. So we've painstakingly carved out this entire section here and this entire section down here. And there's a little bit further down we could go, but we don't need any more than what we got. This is our secondary storage where we put a bunch of our other items that we don't necessarily need off the top. But let's go test our luck raiding. So when you spawn in, you'll notice on the right hand side we've got about 40 seconds to get in here, take a look at the opponent's defenses, and come up with a plan, whether we want to attack or not. The Nether Star will show you what you're going to get from it. You can also see it on the right hand side. You'll get gold, raid points, and crowns. The TNT will instantly start your raid, or the paper will allow you to leave there and find another kingdom to raid. So when you're raiding, it's important to take in consideration both what your troops are available and able to do, as well as what the enemy is able to do. Sorry for the pause there. They're playing some copyrighted music. So for instance, this spider den spawn spiders, and these mage towers, they spawn directly in front. The mage towers can reach a range of 8 blocks and launch pretty powerful attacks. So they're not fun, especially in a composition like that. It's a good way to get a lot of your troops killed pretty quickly. The other thing to look out for is things like this. The beehives, bees can only be attacked by skeletons or spider jockeys, ranged units. You'd have to have a bow in order to attack here. So one of the biggest downfalls, especially in the lower levels, are the beehives, because once your ranged units are destroyed, there's no way to stop them, and they'll completely decimate the rest of your troops. But it's important to look around, because like this one seems easy enough on the front section. But then you start getting around here, so you're coming in here, your troops are. They're getting blasted by the mage tower the entire time that they're walking around here. They're going to get shot by the archer here. Shot by the mage tower there and there. As it continues to walk around this entire bend. Before it gets here. This one we'll probably end up doing. Just because our troops are high enough level that we could break through that. So now we have 15 minutes until the raid ends. So I like to take this opportunity, just do a little bit more looking around if you didn't see it all in the first 40 seconds, and see what you're going to be running into. So for here, they've got another beehive, zombie grave, and a creeper mortar. This shoots TNT, spawns zombies, bees. They got level 1 barricades, so that actually works out pretty well for us. Our troops can tank through that pretty easily. Endermen can't be targeted by the archer towers. So the only thing that we really have to worry about is this section right here. So we're going to start. And we're just going to come in and help. We're going to try not to have too many troops in this first part, because we want to keep their health as high as we can. But we got to be careful that we don't die. So when you die, you respawn, you have a 5-second cooldown before you can move again. You also have a certain number of lives, so if I die 5 times, it's an automatic fail for this raid. Which is something that we'd like to avoid in a perfect world. So as you can see there, our Enderman got ahead of the Jerry, so he got hit by lightning. It's not ideal, and it's not ideal to have our troops this spaced out. But ideally, this one will focus target on that Jerry, and then switch to one of these other ones. Otherwise, it's going to be a bad time for us. So what we want to do, and make sure that we're doing, is coming in and helping get rid of some of these troops before they kill our guys. Like that. Up there is less than ideal. So like I said, archers are the only ones that can kill the bees, and they're currently getting killed. So I'm trying to hope, trying to see if maybe okay, so okay. So I died again. So now we have to go back through and spawn more troops that are going to hopefully make it through that line. Not an ideal situation. We've only got the one slime, so once it gets out of range, the rest of these units are going to get, probably from here down, are going to get killed, which is not great, because that's going to put us at a disadvantage going against those beehives for this second barrier, as well as for that final barrier. raids at this level, typically you want to have at least one, if not two, teammates assisting you to help you focus on and get rid of the spiders and then the zombies. It's hard to kill the bees even with a bow. It just doesn't do enough damage. Yeah, so our Endermen are taking a beating. Less than ideal. Okay, so unfortunately our jockey died. So we're most likely going to lose this one. Even though the archer tower can't attack the Enderman, the bee down here, the zombies, and then this creeper mortar will. So we're going to lose this raid, but we still walk away with a little bit of gold and some raid points. So even if you have a bad raid like this where it doesn't quite go the way you wanted, you still get to walk away with something. So it's not a complete waste. The hardest part being is that you've lost all the resources it takes in order to build these troops. The trade-off being if you have, like we do, a 6-man or 6-person kingdom, it's fairly easy for us to go out and grind and get the resources required to build them all again. So you see here we lost. We ran out of troops. So failed raid on our part, but we still got some of the raid points. So the best thing to do right after a raid is go back to your barracks and start training the troops that you need for your next one. And as you can see, every unit has its range, speed, health, stamina, the storage spaces for the gold that it can carry. And we haven't unlocked these ones yet. So in between raids, what we've done, we set up a wall of what we need to do. And one of the reasons we say spend our money, spend the gold, is because the more gold you have sitting in your bank, the higher priority target you are for other people looking to do raids. So if you're able to sell, or correction, if you're able to get rid of your gold, buy things, spend it on upgrades, whatever, then you'll have less gold and less likely chance of getting raided, which helps. If you're constantly having to go through, get raided, when you're being raided, you can't open your chests, you can't do anything with the blacksmith, you can't go to the mine, you can't come home from the mine, you can't go to the hub to sell anything. So it can be a huge inconvenience. So the mines are where you go to get stuff. It's where you go to mine wood, you this area you can't really get the stone from, but once you get past these arches, most all of the mines have the exact same layout as this area. So once you get past that first pillar, is when you can usually start harvesting it. So you get your stone, you get to wood. In this mine, you have diamonds and gold, and over time, usually a couple ticks, the bedrock, as you can see, goes away and replaces back with stone. So it will respawn. You also have mobs in the mines that you have to look out for, as they're going to actively be trying to kill you. But they give you the items that you need in order to continue your raids. And every mob drops something different. You're going to probably spend a majority of your time in the mines, especially if you're playing solo or if you're just starting out. It takes a bit of resources to get started, but it increasingly gets more and more costly as I fail. It gets more and more costly as you start to progress in levels, especially when it comes to raid points. For us, it costs over 100 raid points just to upgrade one of our barricades or to upgrade our troops to one of the troops to the next level. For example, to get Enderman level 3, it cost us, I think, 150 raid points and a little over 100,000 gold. So it can be a little grindy and a little infuriating sometimes. So again, there's the mobs you have to look out for. If you die, which I will probably do in a second, you lose a portion of the harvestable supplies in your inventory. What I mean by that is that if I happen to die right now, which I'd like to avoid, I lose a portion of the iron ore, portion of the wood, cobblestone, all this. You keep your items, so you'll keep your armor, you'll keep your bow and your quiver, and you'll keep your tools, but you lose a portion of the items that you've so far collected. It's approximately a third, but it's not an exact science. I've had an entire 2 stacks of items before, and I've lost an entire stack from dying, or I've had 2 stacks and I've lost, 16. It's not an exact science, but it's typically a third. The caves are all the mines and caves are massive. They're very well detailed, very well designed, so that it can be very rewarding, but also very challenging. It makes you think about the risk versus the reward. Should I be here? Should I be doing this? Am I going to be safe? Am I going to die? So for example, this is one of the better spots in Mine 4 for diamonds and gold if you're going to be mining. But the trade-off is that you have all the shulker boxes firing their orbs at you. Which can make it a little bit difficult. You can kind of dance around a little bit, move side to side, forward, backwards, and helps juke them off a little bit, but it's not usually too terrible. If you have a group come in, it's even easier. 1 or 2 people can focus on clearing the mobs, and then the other 1, 2, or even 4 people, if you have an entire kingdom, can focus on mining, which is ideal, but as you can see, I'm by myself. The kingdom that I'm a part of predominantly has people from outside of the US, and thus they have different schedules, different time zones, so different availabilities. The trade-off of that being is that when I'm asleep or if I'm at work, they're online, able to be grinding or raiding and getting overall progress towards our next objective. So I'll usually spend probably about an hour, maybe an hour and a half in the mines, harvesting resources. I'll pop out if I die a couple times, or if I run into a rival, which is any place or any kingdom that you've raided successfully or unsuccessfully, you become rivals with. They have the opportunity to attack you back. And while you are rivals, they can attack you whenever you're in the mines. And it's same principle. If they kill you, you'll still lose a third of your items, but you keep your tools and etc. So it's not a real setback, but if you've spent a lot of time in the mines, you have a lot of items, it can be infuriating. So we'll go back, put our items away. That's our industrial smelter for stone. So earlier I was saying you have the artisans, the mason, the lumber, and you can buy these different blocks from them for gold and use it to decorate your kingdom however you want. So I'm not artistic, so it's not my credit. But they've been slowly turning this into a flower patch. With little beehives. And I've seen some other kingdoms that have done really cool jobs that have put like a Sarlacc pit from like Star Wars over here. I've seen people recreate the Ender Dragon. Somebody made that into like a complete actual like hollowed out mountain that went all the way down to the side of their kingdom. So it's really amazing to see really what people are doing. For now, we've kind of just done the bare necessities. So rather than having to go in the caves all the time to get wood to turn to charcoal, we just put a tree farm up here so that we can get whatever kind of wood we want. So your farm is going to be your biggest money maker. This is what is going to give you the most amount of money until you can start getting iron and gold aren't worth a whole lot. We strongly recommend just save it up, use it for your tools. But it's going to be what gives you the most amount of money in the early game and even into the late game. Especially if you're a smaller kingdom and you don't have the members available. So I like to only sell just a stack. Again, we're trying not to have a ton of money. Okay, so we don't have. And different things sell for different prices, so it's best to see for yourself what items you want to try to min max. Snowberries take an hour to grow, but they give you the most amount of gold for them. But the melons are quick to grow, and it gives you a lot of them, and they sell for a decent price. I think it's about $13,000 an hour selling melons, maybe 133. I have to look. It's quite a lot, but not as good if you had the time available to just micromanage the berries. And then the cows, again, we're just doing to get leather. It costs 2 stacks of diamond and a stack and a half of leather to just make one set of diamond armor. So it can be pretty expensive sometimes. But some of our members have taken the time to start constructing their own houses and given the place a little bit more of a lived-in vibe rather than a flat kingdom. As seen with our fountain and our cemetery. But overall, that is a pretty quick, basic, and dry run through of Fallen Kingdom. It's a lot of fun. It's got many more amazing updates coming out. They're going to be adding in here shortly. They're going to be doing the next update, which will make the castle limit increase, so you can get level 3 castle. You can upgrade your buildings again. You'll be able to upgrade your troops higher level, and continue the fight. But if you guys like it, be sure to check it out. It's wicked enjoyable. You can have all kinds of your friends together. Raiding, going to the mines, or just building amazing things with all this background. If you want to have just a nice pre-built kingdom to kind of mess around with, all the grasslands here are all available for you. So if you like it, be sure to check it out. If not, until next time, thanks for coming.